The silent strength. The grand chamber of the Zeltarian High Council glittered with crystalline spires and hovering orbs of light. 7 representatives of the most powerful species in the known galaxy sat in judgment, their expressions ranging from boredom to thinly veiled contempt as the holographic message from Earth played before them. "We have detected unusual energy signatures near the Proxima Centauri system," said the stern-faced human ambassador, General Marcus Winters. "Our scientific analysis confirms these are Vexari scout ships. We've sent this warning to all civilized worlds. Prepare your defenses. The Vexari will not negotiate." High Counselor Drezith, with her 6 slender arms folded across her iridescent chest, silenced the message with a flick of her talon. "The humans continue to annoy us with their paranoia," she said, her voice like silk over steel. "They've been part of galactic society for barely 50 years, and already presume to lecture us on defense." Laughter rippled through the chamber, the sound echoing against the vaulted ceiling. "Their primitive ships can barely achieve faster than light travel," snorted Ambassador Krell, his reptilian features twisted in a smirk. "And they believe they've detected a threat that our advanced sensor networks cannot?" Only Counselor Telmar, oldest of the Ardani species, remained quiet, his ancient eyes narrowed in thought. "Perhaps we should not dismiss their warning so quickly," he suggested, earning dismissive glances from his peers. "The humans have always been imaginative," replied Drezith, rising to her full 3-meter height. "But we have real matters to address. This council has maintained peace for millennia. We need not concern ourselves with the fears of a species that still thought digital watches were impressive technology when we first contacted them." More laughter followed, and the matter was closed. The message from Earth was classified as non-critical and filed away in the vast archives of the Zeltarian databanks. Captain Nikolai Volkov stood at attention in the underground war room of Earth Command headquarters in Geneva, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of tactical displays. At 53, he was considered ancient for special operations, but his experience made him irreplaceable. The room was filled with Earth's highest military command. Not a single seat remained empty. "They laughed at our warning," said Fleet Admiral Hiroshi Tanaka, his voice tight with controlled anger. "The Zeltarian Council has officially classified our intelligence as human paranoia and refuses to mobilize their defense networks." Volkov wasn't surprised. "We expected this response, Admiral. The Council has grown complacent after centuries of unchallenged supremacy." "Then we proceed as planned," declared Director Ekaterina Orlova, head of Earth Intelligence. Her silver hair was pulled back in a severe bun, her eyes sharp as she gestured toward the holographic star map. "Captain Volkov, your strike team is authorized to deploy Operation Silent Shield." Volkov nodded, studying the faces of his team members standing around the table. Lieutenant Wei Fang, demolitions expert, communications specialist Dante Rodriguez, technical officer Olga Petrova, and combat medic Jamal Ibrahim. They were the best Earth had to offer. Hardened veterans who had survived first contact wars that the wider galaxy knew nothing about. "The galaxy believes we're technologically inferior," Volkov said, addressing his team. "That misconception is our advantage. While they mock our primitive ships, they don't realize we've been preparing for this threat for decades." Director Orlova activated a secure display, revealing Earth's classified technological breakthroughs. "Our quantum stealth systems remain undetected by all known alien scanning technologies. The Hyperion-class battleships are ready for deployment, and our nanoshield technology has been successfully tested against captured Vexari weapons." "Why not simply show the Council our true capabilities?" asked Lieutenant Fang. "They might take the Vexari threat seriously if they knew." Admiral Tanaka shook his head. "Politics. Half the Council would see our hidden advancements as proof we can't be trusted. The other half would demand access to our technology. Either way, we'd lose the advantage of surprise against the Vexari. Your mission," continued Orlova, "is to deploy stealth monitoring stations throughout Zeltarian space. When the Vexari attack, and they will attack, we'll have advance warning and positioning for our fleet." "And if we're discovered?" asked Volkov. Orlova's expression hardened. "Then the galaxy learns about humanity's capabilities sooner rather than later. The Zeltarian orbital station Harmonious Progress was a marvel of engineering, a wheel-shaped structure 20 kilometers in diameter that served as the primary diplomatic hub for the galaxy's elite species. Within one of its luxury diplomatic suites, Counselor Telmar met privately with his aide, Vestra. The humans sent another warning, Telmar said, his ancient voice barely above a whisper. More detailed this time. Their intelligence suggests the Vexari have developed some kind of phase technology that allows them to mask their approach. Vestra's antennae twitched nervously. And the Council's response? The same. Dismissal. Mockery. Telmar moved to the window, gazing out at the stars. I've studied human history since they joined the galactic community. They're young, yes, but there's something resilient about them. They've survived catastrophes that would have ended other civilizations. You believe their warning is genuine? I believe we are fools to dismiss any threat so casually, Telmar replied. The Council has forgotten what it means to face a true enemy. 3,000 years of peace has made them complacent. A soft chime interrupted their conversation. Vestra checked the communication panel. Priority message from our security network. There's been an unusual energy reading near the outer defense perimeter. Telmar's eyes narrowed. Show me. The holographic display revealed nothing but empty space, yet the sensors indicated something had briefly disrupted the background radiation patterns. Telmar studied the data, his ancient mind calculating possibilities. Could it be? He began, but never finished his thought. The door to the suite slid open and 3 Zeltarian security officers entered. Their leader, Commander Praxis, bowed slightly. Counselor Telmar, we've been instructed to escort you to an emergency session of the High Council. Regarding what matter? Telmar asked, though he already suspected the answer. A Vexari scout ship has been captured near the Epsilon sector, Praxis replied grimly. They had already destroyed 2 outposts before our patrols intercepted them. Telmar exchanged glances with Vestra, and the human warning. Praxis looked uncomfortable. The High Counselor has forbidden any mention of it during the session. Captain Volkov's stealth vessel, Shadow of Earth, drifted silently through the debris field of what had once been a Zeltarian monitoring station. The ship's external cameras showed twisted metal and frozen bodies floating in the vacuum. No survivors, reported combat medic Ibrahim. The attack pattern is consistent with Vexari tactics, quick, brutal, and thorough. Volkov nodded grimly. Olga, what's the status of our monitoring network? Technical Officer Petrova's fingers danced across her console. We've deployed 62% of the planned network. The remaining units are ready for placement in the Gamma and Delta sectors. The Zeltarians are scrambling, said Communications Specialist Rodriguez, monitoring intercepted transmissions. They've lost contact with multiple outposts. They're military, vessels are mobilizing, but they're moving in the wrong direction. They think it's an isolated incident. Volkov studied the tactical display, watching as more Zeltarian assets moved away from the actual threat vector. They still don't understand what they're facing. The Vexari aren't launching a border skirmish. This is the first wave of a full invasion. A proximity alert suddenly blared through the command deck. Lieutenant Fang reacted instantly, bringing weapons systems online. Unidentified vessel bearing 340 Mark II. It's using some kind of cloaking technology. Vexari? Volkov demanded. No, sir, Petrova replied, studying her readouts. The energy signature is Zeltarian, but unlike any configuration in our database. On the main viewer, a sleek vessel shimmered into visibility. It was smaller than most Zeltarian ships, with an elegant predatory design that suggested it was built for speed and stealth, rather than diplomacy. They're hailing us, Rodriguez reported, surprised. How did they detect us through our quantum stealth field? Volkov's expression darkened. It seems we're not the only ones with secrets. On screen, the face that appeared was Ardani, the same species as Counselor Telmar, but younger, with the determined look of a soldier rather than a politician. Earth vessel, the Ardani said without preamble. I am Commander Jarrell of the Ardani Intelligence Directorate. We need to talk. Volkov's hand moved imperceptibly closer to his sidearm. About what? About how my people and yours are going to survive what's coming, Jarrell replied grimly. The Vexari aren't just invading. They're being guided by traitors within the Zeltarian Council itself. Wrath unleashed. The revelation hung in the air like a physical presence aboard the shadow of Earth. Captain Volkov's experienced features betrayed nothing, but his mind raced with the implications of Commander Yarrell's words. Traitors within the Zeltarian Council, Volkov repeated carefully. That's a significant accusation, Commander. I assume you have evidence. Jarrell's holographic image nodded grimly. Permission to come aboard your vessel? What I have to share shouldn't be transmitted, even on encrypted channels. Volkov exchanged glances with his team before responding. Granted, but you'll come alone and unarmed. 30 minutes later, the Ardani commander stood in the Shadow's secure briefing room, surrounded by Volkov's wary team. Despite his tall, slender physique typical of the Ardani species, Jarrell carried himself with the unmistakable bearing of a veteran soldier. The Vexari incursion isn't random, Jarrell began, placing a data crystal on the table. For the past 3 years, the Ardani Intelligence Directorate has been tracking unusual communications between High Counselor Drezith and unknown entities beyond the Galactic Rim. Technical Officer Petrova activated the crystal, projecting a complex web of intercepted transmissions and movement patterns. These communication bursts correspond perfectly with the Vexari advance, she observed, her voice tightening with professional concern. Why would a Zeltarian counselor betray the galaxy to the Vexari? Lieutenant Fang asked, skepticism evident in his tone. Power and immortality, Jarrell replied simply. The Vexari offered Drezith and her inner circle biological technology that could extend their lifespans indefinitely. In exchange, she's been systematically weakening our defensive networks and providing strategic intelligence. Volkov studied the evidence carefully. Your government could have taken this to the full council. Jarrell's features hardened. Counselor Telmar tried. He was found dead in his quarters this morning. Official cause. Natural causes. Reality. Targeted neurotoxin. A heavy silence fell over the room. Volkov activated his secure communications link to Earth Command. Admiral Tanaka, we have a situation that changes our operational parameters. Requesting immediate implementation of Protocol Thunderbolt. On the other end, Admiral Tanaka's response was immediate and grave. Understood, Captain. The Hyperion fleet is moving into position. You have 12 hours to complete your current mission and rendezvous at coordinates Delta 9. After ending the transmission, Volkov turned to Jarrell. Commander, it seems our two species are now the front line in this war. How many Ardani vessels can we count on? 17 combat-ready ships and 5 intelligence vessels like mine, Jarrell replied. Not enough to stand against the combined Vexari and corrupted Zeltarian forces. Volkov's lips curved in a cold smile. Then it's fortunate you won't have to stand alone. Deep in the void between star systems, hidden from conventional sensors by advanced quantum stealth technology, 37 massive vessels hung in formation. Each Hyperion-class battleship was 3 kilometers long, their obsidian hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light. Unlike the elegant artistic designs favored by most galactic civilizations, these ships were brutal in their functionality. Living weapons platforms built by a species that had never forgotten how to wage war. On the bridge of the flagship Thermopylae, Fleet Admiral Tanaka addressed the holographic images of his fleet commanders. The Ardani intelligence has been verified, he stated without preamble. High Counselor Drezith and at least 3 other council members are actively collaborating with the Vexari invasion force. Our stealth monitoring network confirms a major Vexari fleet massing at these coordinates, preparing to strike at the heart of Zeltarian space. Admiral Tanaka's weathered face hardened as he continued. For 50 years, humanity has hidden our true technological capabilities, learning from the galaxy while presenting ourselves as junior partners. That deception ends today. The Zeltarian betrayal threatens not just humanity, but all free species in this sector. The holographic displays shifted to show tactical overlays. Operation Thunderbolt commences in 6 hours. First wave, Lieutenant Wang will lead Battle Groups Sigma and Omega to intercept the Vexari invasion fleet here, at the Helios choke point. Second wave, Battle Groups Alpha through Delta will move to secure these key strategic positions. Captain Volkov's team will coordinate with our Ardani allies to neutralize the traitors within the Zeltarian leadership structure. Lieutenant Jade Wang, commanding the advanced destroyer Vigilant, studied the tactical display with focused intensity. At 34, she was one of Earth Fleet's youngest senior officers, having earned her reputation through brilliance in both strategy and combat piloting. "Admiral," she said, her voice calm but intense. "The Helios choke point is heavily defended by Zeltarian automated defense systems. If Counselor Dreseth controls those systems, then you'll be flying into a trap." Tanaka finished for her. "That's why we're sending you with our new Spectre-class destroyers. Their quantum phasing capability should allow you to bypass the defense grid entirely." Wang's eyes widened slightly. Even among Earth's senior officers, the Spectre program was not widely known. "Understood, Admiral. We won't fail." High Counselor Dreseth stood at the viewing platform of her private sanctum, watching as ships, from across the Zeltarian Confederation, gathered to defend against what she had publicly described as a limited incursion by Vexari raiders. Her 4 primary eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of satisfaction among her species. "The preparations are complete, Excellency," reported her chief advisor, Morden. "The defense fleet is positioned exactly as you specified, leaving the Helios sector vulnerable. The Vexari main force will have a clear path to the capital worlds." Dreseth's mouth parts clicked in approval. "And the human warning?" "Dismissed as paranoia, as you instructed. Most of the Council still believes this is a minor border conflict. Only the Ardani voiced objections, but with Telmar's unfortunate passing, they have lost their strongest voice." "Perfect," Dreseth hissed softly. "When the Vexari arrive in force, the Confederation will have no choice but to accept my emergency powers to coordinate the defense. By the time they realize my true alliance, it will be too late." The communications panel chimed, and a junior officer's agitated face appeared on the screen. "High Counselor, our long-range sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures approaching from multiple vectors. They don't match any known configuration." Dreseth felt a flutter of concern. "Show me." The display shifted to show tactical readouts of approaching vessels, massive ships that seemed to absorb sensor pings rather than reflect them. Before she could respond, another alert sounded. "The Helios defense grid is reporting multiple failures. Something is moving through the sensor network, but we can't get a clear reading." For the first time in centuries, Dreseth felt the cold touch of fear. "Activate all emergency protocols. Contact our Vexari allies immediately." Lieutenant Jade Wang sat in the neural interface chair of the Vigilant. Her consciousness merged with the ship's advanced systems. Around her, 11 other Spectre-class destroyers moved in perfect formation, their quantum phasing drives allowing them to exist partially out of normal space-time, visible only as ghostly outlines on conventional sensors. "All ships report." "Ready, Lieutenant," her executive officer reported. "Phasing synchronization at optimal levels." Wang allowed herself a tight smile. "Begin the attack run. Remember your training. The Zeltarians will see us only moments before impact. Make those moments count." The 12 Earth ships accelerated smoothly toward the Helios choke point, where 27 Zeltarian defensive platforms waited in a deadly grid. Under normal circumstances, no fleet could pass this barrier without being reduced to atoms. But today, the rules had changed. As the Earth vessels approached, they shifted further into quantum phasing, becoming little more than distortions in reality. They slipped through the defensive grid like ghosts through a wall, materializing on the other side in perfect formation. "Phase shift complete," Wang announced calmly. "All ships, power to weapons. Target the incoming Vexari vessels. Show them how humanity fights." The Vexari advance fleet, expecting to meet no resistance beyond their Zeltarian collaborators' token defense, found themselves suddenly facing Earth's most advanced combat vessels. The first salvos from the Vigilant and her sister ships tore through Vexari shields as if they were paper, quantum-tipped missiles phasing partially into the enemy vessels before detonating. Multiple direct hits, Wong's tactical officer reported with professional satisfaction. Enemy formation is breaking up. They're attempting to regroup. Wong nodded grimly. Don't give them the chance. All ships, execute attack pattern Epsilon. Let's finish this quickly. In the Zeltarian High Council chamber, chaos reigned. Emergency reports flooded in from across the Confederation as Earth's Hyperion fleet revealed itself, systematically neutralizing strategic military targets with shocking precision. "This is impossible," shouted Ambassador Krell, his scales flushed with fear and rage. "The humans don't possess this level of technology. Their ships were inspected when they joined the Confederation." 12 hours later, aboard the Thermopylae, Admiral Tanaka stood before representatives from 17 species of the Galactic Confederation. The emergency session had been called to address what was already being called the revelation of Earth. For 50 years, humanity has maintained the illusion of technological inferiority, Tanaka explained, his voice steady and unapologetic. Not out of deception, but caution. History taught us that advanced civilizations often fear those who advance too quickly. On the displays around the chamber, footage showed Earth's fleet systematically dismantling the Vexari invasion force. The battle at the Helios choke point had been particularly decisive. Lieutenant Wong's strike force had destroyed 63 Vexari vessels while losing only 2 of their own. Today's events have demonstrated 2 truths, Tanaka continued. First, that even ancient alliances can harbor betrayal. Second, that humanity is prepared to defend not just ourselves, but all who stand for freedom in this galaxy. An uncomfortable silence followed his words. Finally, the interim Zeltarian representative spoke. The Council acknowledges Earth's decisive action in preventing catastrophe. However, the revelation of your hidden military capabilities raises serious concerns about humanity's place in the Confederation. Tanaka's expression hardened slightly. Those concerns are understandable, but perhaps it's time to reconsider what the Confederation represents. For millennia, you've maintained a peace built on the assumption that all threats could be managed through diplomacy. Today proved otherwise. He gestured to Captain Volkov and Commander Jarrell, who stood side by side. Humanity doesn't seek dominance or control. We seek partnership, real partnership, where each civilization contributes its strengths. Earth brings determination, innovation, and yes, the willingness to fight when necessary. The Ardani representative nodded in agreement. The old ways have failed us. Perhaps it's time to listen to the youngest among us. As discussions continued, Lieutenant Wong approached Volkov at the periphery of the chamber. The fleet is securing the last Vexari stragglers, she reported quietly. No sign of reinforcements. Volkov nodded. This was just the first wave. There will be others. And we'll be ready, Wong replied with quiet confidence. The galaxy has seen what humans can do when provoked. Their arrogance cost them everything. When Earth's warriors struck, Volkov allowed himself a small smile. Let's hope they've learned their lesson. Underestimating humanity has always been a dangerous mistake. Across the stars, the news spread rapidly. Earth had emerged from the shadows, revealing itself not as the primitive newcomer many had assumed, but as a formidable power with technology rivaling or exceeding the oldest civilizations. The Terran Empire wasn't conquering through force but through necessity, protecting a galaxy that had forgotten how to protect itself. A new era had begun, with humanity at its center, not as conquerors, but as guardians against threats, both external and internal. Their patience had been mistaken for weakness, their restraint for limitation. Now the galaxy understood the truth that Earth had known all along. Sometimes peace must be defended with strength, and those who dismiss the warnings of others do so at their peril.